Everybody, we have 8 attendees participating remotely. We're going to begin the meeting at this time. Thank you.
All right, here we go. Thanks for joining us. Please note this meeting of the Mahwah Board of Education is open to members of the public to be physically present. Members of the public that attend will be asked to follow the same procedures as all of the visitors to our schools. These procedures can be found on the agenda page of our website. Additionally, the board meeting will be live streamed for viewing purposes only. Anyone wishing to view the meeting may do so via Zoom. The webinar ID for this meeting is 835-768-49421, and the required password is 739203. To allow for adequate distancing, the meeting location has been changed to Mahwah High School Auditorium, 50 Ridge Road. Mr. Bleeker, roll call, please.
Mr. Gallo.
Here.
Ms. Conoco.
Here.
Dr. Morthy.
Here.
Dr. Park.
Here.
Ms. Saccone.
Here.
Mr. Copland.
Here.
Mr. De Silva. Mr. Denise.
Here.
And Mr. Kazmarski.
Here. Adequate notice of the agenda of this meeting is provided to the Ridgewood News and the Record, specifying that the Mahwah Board of Education will meet on March 31st, 2021 in the Mahwah High School Auditorium, 50 Ridge Road, Mahwah, New Jersey. A copy was filed with the Township Clerk. Please rise for a salute to the flag. Ms. Saccone, will you please lead us? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, may I please have a motion to recess to executive session? Ms. Conoco, seconded by Mr. Denise. May I ask how long you think we'll be in?
Approximately 30 minutes.
Oh, okay. So we'll be back in about 30 minutes. We'll try to make it 20. Okay, thank you.
Good evening for members who are in the audience as well as members who are attending online. We stepped into executive session around 7:05. We say we'd be about a half an hour. We do need about 15 more minutes in executive session. After that 15 minutes, we'll return to this evening's meeting. Thank you. Yeah, Mr. Kazmarski.
I just want to thank the members of the public for their patience. There were several items we needed to discuss before the meeting. Can I please have a motion to reconvene to public action meeting? Mr. Gallo, seconded by Mr. Copland. Okay. Agenda questions. Please limit your questions at this time to resolutions on the new business on this agenda. As a matter of fairness, you are asked to limit your questions to no more than 1 and your remarks to no longer than 3 minutes. If you are here representing a group, please identify yourself, the group, and your position in the group. If you're here as an individual, please give us your name and address. This section of public participation will be limited to 15 minutes. Please specify the resolution you're referring to in your question. And please have a motion to open the meeting to the public. Ms. Conoco, seconded by Ms. Saccone. Okay. All right, seeing none. Can I have a motion to close the meeting to the public? Mr. Copland, seconded by Ms. Conoco. Okay, intern superintendent's reports, Dr. Fitz.
Thank you very much. I have a report to make. It's built around what we call our student safety.
Dr. Fitz,
Right,
you
use
can
microphone.
the microphone,
There we
please.
go.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. It's built, this report is built around our student safety data system. The student safety data system collects 2 types of information from schools throughout the district. They're going to record incidents of violence, vandalism, harassment, intimidation, bullying, HIV, weapons, offenses, substance offenses, and any other incidents leading to students' removal from school, and HIV training and program. When you look at the sheet, or look at the diagram here, is that you're doing very well. We have 2 HIV alleged incidents. And then you'll see the next sheet over here. It talks about the training that's provided. Can you give me that slide now to indicate the training piece? We have training and we have provided programs for our staff. 16 training and approximately engaged the staff in 32 programs. This is a great initiative, and I encourage you to keep it up. I encourage principals to please record these incidents in accordance with the policy and the guidelines from the state of New Jersey, okay? They're current and they're up to date, and that it helps to keep a school safe. Let me also talk a little bit about the return to school and getting in full time at school. As I move across the district, it's just rejoicing to hear the increased sound of students in school and to hear the staff members actively involved in really demonstrating their craft of teaching larger numbers of kids. The kids are responding well. The kids who were in attendance earlier, they train and are continuing to train the students who are coming in now. They're wearing their masks. They are maintaining 6 feet. They're very cordial and they're very responsible. And so again, there are so many people I need to take a moment just to thank for helping to pull this initiative off. The executive team, they spent unlimited hours planning this process to be implemented. They engaged everyone around the school district, transportation, food services people to work with us. And above all, they engaged the paraprofessionals, they engaged the teachers, the principals, the technology people, the custodians. So the reason it's been successful or is being successful is because we are all in it together. You should see the parents, how supportive they are in playing by the rules of picking up the kids on time, discharging the kids, and being so tolerant and patient with us when there's a little lateness in terms of a bus that had to make 2 pickups and might be late getting to the second stop for the child. So again, I want to just thank everyone for your active involvement, your active engagement in this process. It's working, and we're going to continue to be cautious. We're going to be reserved. We're going to look at what we've learned from the past, and we're going to proceed into the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Fitz. Mr. Bleeker.
Yes, I do have a report for this evening. Mr. Barber, Mr. Graceffo, if you would bring up the budget presentation. Okay. While this is coming up on the screen, this budget presentation, similar to my last one, will be put on our website, the district website, under the business office page tomorrow after its presentation tonight. So tonight I'm going to do the second of 4 presentations on the preliminary budget for the 21-22 school year. As I mentioned at our last meeting, the budget has been sent down to the county office. We are working with them on any comments or questions that they have regarding it. Our May 5th board meeting is when we expect to have the final adoption of the budget for the 21-22 school year. Tonight we're going to be discussing a couple different areas, 3 different areas to be exact: debt service, special revenue, and special education, and the impact that they have on the budget. Debt service first, for anybody who is unfamiliar, debt service is also known as Fund 40 within the budget. It's the fund within the budget that we use for the payment of principal and interest payments that are owned on any bonds that were made due to referendum projects that were approved by the voters. As of today and for next year, we have 2 bonds that are outstanding that we're going to be making payments on. For the 21-22 school year, there are 4 payments that are going to be made among those 2 bonds. Grand total of payments for next year across the 2 bonds is going to be $1,395,000 in principal and $78,757,000 in interest. Grand total $1,473,757. The 2 bonds that are outstanding, to give a little history on those, the first is a bond that was originally approved in 2002 for $12,545,000. It was refinanced in 2009 as well as just last year in 2020. It was for the construction of Lenape Meadows Elementary School as well as renovations at the time at both the high school and the middle school. For this bond, the last principal and interest payments are scheduled in the 22-23 school year. The 2003 bond that is also outstanding that we'll be making payments on for next year was originally taken out in the amount of $9,522,000. It was refinanced in 2011. The bond originally was for additions and renovations at the high school and the Rampo Ridge Middle School. And for that bond, the last principal and interest payments are scheduled for the 23-24 school year. Special revenue. Special revenue is also commonly known as Fund 20. The funds that are within this fund and are accounted for represent federal, state, and local government grants and funds that we have received, and they're all identified for specific purposes. Most commonly from the federal, we have the ESSA money, Every Student Succeeds Act money, formerly known as NCLB, No Child Left Behind. That's federal money that we receive. It's often the Title I, Title II, and Title III funds that we receive. IDEA funds are utilized to offset out-of-district tuition costs for any special needs students who need to attend an out-of-district school. We also have non-public grants that we are the pass-through agency for. The state provides the money to the township, to the district of Mahwah, and then we in turn provide them to non-public schools that are within the township. Lastly, we have local grants. Those are some of the grants that come for our PTOs, HSOs, HSAs, and Mahwah Schools Foundation. For the 21-22 school year, the federal grants that I referenced, IDA and ESSA, we are budgeting $738,500 to receive. For the state, the non-public funds that I spoke about, approximately $16,800, with a total special revenue budget for the 21-22 school year of $755,300. I also want to take a moment within special revenue. That's also the fund where we see much of the CARES and coronavirus funds that we had received over the past year to help us battle and prepare our schools to open for the 2021 school year. To date, we've been allocated just over $1 million. The vast majority of it represents ESSER 2 money. It's down on the bottom, $747,000. Those were funds that we have not utilized yet. We're currently in the process of completing the application for those funds. We were just made aware of them in late February. That represents the federal stimulus that many people may have been, that occurred in December. For the stimulus that just occurred at the federal government level a few weeks ago, while we're expected to receive funds, no allocation has been given to us yet. But again, when they are made available to us, Fund 20 is where, or the Special Revenue Fund is where we would account for them. Lastly, for special revenue, I want to mention new for the 21-20 school year as a result of GASB 84. And GASB 84, GASB, the Governmental Accounting Standards Board, is an organization that regulates much of the accounting and financial practices for government entities in the country. For next year, we would need to record in the special revenue in Fund 20 any transactions for student activity accounts and scholarship accounts. Traditionally, these were kept in what's called a fiduciary fund, another section of our audit. Again, as a result of the GASB 84, and you look at our financials for next year, they will be reflected there. Special education. For special education, costs include out-of-district special education, any related services that may need to be provided per the student's IEP, general administration of the child study team, as well as any self-contained classes that we hold here within our district. Represents just over 18% of the budget, of the proposed budget for the 21-22 school year. The out-of-district costs that I mentioned, we have 108 students who are currently out of district. That's both special education as well as general education students. Down below is the breakout, approximately 58 special ed who attend either a private school for the disabled, some of the Bergen County special services schools or public schools that may offer a special ed program. This is all determined by the student's IEP. We also have approximately 50 regular ed students. These are high school age students who attend either the Bergen County vocational or technical schools or Bergen County academies. The budget for next year is a proposed $6,319,000. And we have transportation costs to support both the special ed and regular ed students of a little bit over $2.2 million for next year. With that, that concludes my budget presentation for this evening. Again, as a recap, we discussed debt service, special revenue, and special education. I have 2 more budget presentations, ending with the May 5th adoption of the 21-22 budget. With that, any questions from the board?
Thank you very much.
Kyle, just a quick
Oh.
question about.
Yes, Mr. Gallo.
About GASB 84.
Yes.
So let's say, for example, we have those scholarship accounts and interest accrues in those accounts. They don't get commingled with sort of school expenses. They still remain in what we used to call the student activity accounts or the fiduciary accounts, but they're accounted for this through Fund 20.
Absolutely. Specific to any interest accrued in those scholarship accounts, because those are sometimes the funds, depending on how the scholarship is set up, that we have to give back in the form of a scholarship. They are still maintained separately and will be dedicated for that purpose. They won't be commingled.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anyone else with any questions? No? Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mr. Farrer.
Good evening. I have a short report this evening. The first is to highlight a retirement, agenda item 18A for Miss Kathy DePoto, who is a paraprofessional at JK.
Oh.
All right. Okay. Yeah, it's a little better. So Kathy has given approximately 17 years of service to Mahwah Public Schools. She works in the main office, so she is one of the faces of Joyce Kilmer School and always greets you with a smile. Joyce Kilmer's building leadership characterizes Kathy as being energetic, with a contagious laugh, and an absolute pleasure to work with. She is positive, optimistic, flexible, and has a can-do attitude that always contributes to a warm welcome for anyone to the school building. She will be truly missed, but we are so excited for her next journey in retirement. So congratulations to Kathy. Second piece of my report is we have hired our first staff member for the 21-22 school year. So we are we're getting started with hiring. Third piece is Paraprofessional Day. For this year, it's celebrated nationally on April 2nd, which is this Friday. Since school is not in district, we shared a poem/statement with our paraprofessionals via email, and we left that poem in their mailboxes earlier today. And in that statement, we compared our paraprofessionals to a bridge connecting teacher and student, a support for students who have no other, an engine that drives to make adults and children soar, the track that keeps us in line, the door that opens opportunity for a child to have a chance. And when a child doesn't believe that they have a chance, our paraprofessionals serve as the voice that reminds them that they do. And perhaps that's the most important role of all. So we thank our paraprofessionals for their work. We have a student, Carolina Herrera, here at the high school in our digital media program. She created a video to really honor our paraprofessionals, and we'll be releasing that via email tomorrow morning. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you very much.
Will those paraprofessional celebrations be on the district website, Dennis, at some point? Sure. Okay.
Great. President's report. Just real quick, I said it at the last meeting. I'll say it again as we've just gone back to K through 5, phase 2. 2 days in, it went off, from what I can tell, without a hitch. A lot of hard work went in for many months on phase 2 from our administrative team, our building principals, especially our teachers. And we thank them for all their hard work in getting these kids back into more seat time with snack. So, it's very important. But, my daughters loved it. It's been great. So kudos to everyone who made this happen. With that, board committee reports. Who's got what? Dr. Morthy.
Again, on behalf of instruction and curriculum, we just want to welcome back all the elementary students in the hybrid. And I really want to just, take note that the smiles on the faces, the feeling of, jovial feeling that's there. We're also very happy on behalf of the board and our committee to have kids back. So it's nice to see Dr. DeToro assures us it's going very well. Thank you to everyone who's participated in this process. And we do appreciate all the feedback and input. And we wish everyone a very good spring break as well. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Mr. Gallo.
On behalf of the Negotiations Committee, I just wanted to inform the public that we are in the process of negotiating new extensions of our current contracts with our supervisors and principals. We've had 2 meetings with our supervisory team. They've been very productive and constructive. And likewise, we've had 1 meeting with our principals union, and they have been equally constructive and productive. And we hope to bring these contracts to conclusion well before their expiration in June. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Anyone on this side? Mr. Denise?
The Policy Committee has 4 policies and 1 regulation on tonight's agenda for a first reading. The No Child Left Behind Act has been replaced by the Every Student Succeeds Act. As a result, we had to update our policies and regulations that reference the No Child Left Behind Act. Policy 2415, Every Student Succeeds Act. This policy has been updated to list the general provisions of the Every Student Succeeds Act, including some general updates and specific updates to the academic standards, academic assessments, and accountability section of the Act. The second policy is Policy 2415.02, Title I, Fiscal Responsibilities. This policy has been revised to provide an additional section specifying that funds provided by the federal government shall supplement, not replace, funds from the state and local sources. Policy 2415.05, Student Surveys, Analysis, and/or Evaluations. This policy had some minor language changes that updated the definition of a minor student. The last one is Policy and Regulation 2415.20, Every Student Succeeds Act complaints. This policy and regulation has been revised to update the complaint procedure for resolving complaints filed by an individual or organizations alleging a school district or the New Jersey Department of Education violated the provisions of the Every Student Succeeds Act.
Okay, thank you very much. Anyone else down there? Going down. Go with Dr. Park. Sorry, man. Let's see.
The New Jersey School Boards Association is currently tracking 16 pieces of legislation related to education that are moving through either New Jersey Senate, Assembly, or both. I'm not going to go over all of them. I will read some highlights from some of those. There's the Cooperative Purchasing of COVID-19 Related Goods Act, which requires the state to assist public schools in the purchase of COVID-19 related goods and services. There are a number of student mental health related bills. A4433 creates a grant to encourage school districts to partner with institutions of higher education to train school-based mental health service providers. A4434 establishes a student wellness grant program in the NJDOE to support school districts in the provision of school-based mental health clinics or workshops for both students and families that engage the community on universal topics of student wellness and mental health. A4436 establishes a student mental health task force to identify and study resources available to schools and parents to address student mental health needs. There's a new robotics pilot, A2455, which provides grant funding to encourage robotics programs and creates a new robotics competition that existing programs can join. There's a Diversity and Inclusion Instruction Measure Now law which is A4454 S2781, that requires school districts to include instruction on diversity and inclusion as a part of the implementation of the New Jersey Student Learning Standards. Highlighting and promoting diversity, examining the impact that unconscious bias and economic disparities have, and encouraging safe and welcoming and inclusive environments for all students. There's revisions to the anti-bullying law, A1662, which creates a funded position of school climate state coordinator and requires funding for the Bullying Prevention Fund, which shall be used to offer grants to school districts to provide training on harassment, intimidation, and bullying. There's the Remote Instruction Training Act, A4859, which requires teacher certification candidates to have completed a course on virtual or remote education. Professional development on remote learning, A5007, requires boards of education to ensure teachers and school leaders complete professional development regarding virtual or remote learning. And that's it for now.
Great, thank you very much. Mr. Copeland?
Thanks. I have two. First, Mahwah Schools Foundation. The MSF's Mahwah Pride campaign is still going on. You can find information on purchasing ribbons as well as yard signs on their website. And they will also be opening up their first grant cycle since the fall of 2019. So they went the entire last year without a grant cycle. So teachers that are watching, please look for information and get those grant applications in, please. My second report is the Community Relations Community Corner. We have a bunch of events coming up. This weekend, obviously, is Good Friday and Easter. I want to wish everyone a blessed Good Friday and a happy Easter. Mr. Fair mentioned it already. Paraprofessional Day is also Friday. On behalf of the board, I want to thank all of our paras for going above and beyond for every day for all of our students. April 13th, Ramadan begins. We want to wish everyone that celebrates a very blessed Ramadan. On April 10th, the Township is hosting a shredding day. That should be a fun event. At the municipal building parking lot from 9 to 1. You must be a Mahwah resident, so bring all your papers and stuff that you want shredded. Recently, an email went out announcing the additional summer learning opportunities for all of our students. This includes a 1 to 2 week, 2 hours a day academic boot camp and a 1 to 2 week, 2 hours a day enrichment academy. If you haven't seen it, please check your emails. And if you're interested, please submit the survey to help our administration team to plan properly. We also want to congratulate the new inductees to the National Junior Honor Society. That happened yesterday, I believe. Also want to congratulate all of the winter sports teams on their successes. Wish all the senior athletes nothing but the best, and also wish all of our spring sports teams nothing but the best and good luck. Last but not least, Friday's a busy day. April 2nd is also National Peanut Butter and Jelly Day. Apparently in 1901, it's the first reference to the peanut butter and jelly sandwich was written in an article by Julia Davis Chandler in the Boston Cooking School magazine of Culinary Science and Domestic Economics. I don't think that's in print anymore. Yeah, so on Friday, enjoy Good Friday with a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, and if you see a para, please thank them. That's all I got. Thank you.
And if you're in our schools, only bring half of that sandwich, please. Thank you.
Yeah, don't bring the peanut butter and jelly sandwiches.
Yeah, just half the sandwich. Very
Because that's a snack.
board member remarks, additional comments? We don't have anything else. Dr. Morthy?
On a serious note, I just wanted to refer to what was sent out by Dr. Fitz and the administrative team on March 19th. As an Asian American, I'm originally born in India. Many people don't know that, and I've immigrated to this country when I was about a year and a half. I just want to stand with my fellow Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders and families, students in our district, condemn the recent increase in acts of violence and hate towards us in our country. We must all stand together to root out any acts of racism and intolerance in our community and world. We must support our students in ensuring they feel safe, healthy, emotionally nourished, and completely educated. If any parent in this district or student has a concern, please reach out to your guidance counselor, your principal, or our director of special services. We take this as a very serious matter. Thank you.
Thank you very much for those remarks. Mr. Gallo.
I just want to bring attention to 17Q, which is the last transfer from the estate of Francis Bacchus to the district. This is part of a incredibly generous gift to the district that will serve students for many decades to come. It's like we won the lotto, and it's for generosity of people like this who in their lives, they must have come to the point to realize the importance of an education and giving a hand up to a student. And this gift is a remarkable testimony to their faith in the future and the faith of our students and our ability to serve them well. And we're incredibly grateful for this bequest, and it's really substantial. It's unbelievable. So thank you.
Thank you very much. Anyone else? Okay. All right, seeing none, we'll move on to old business minutes. Mr. Leaker, take the roll. Actually, can I get a motion to accept the minutes of March 17th? Ms. Conoco, seconded by Mr. Cohn. Put your hand up for you.
Okay, roll call for the minutes of March 17th. Mr. Gallo,
Yes.
Ms. Conoco,
Yes.
Dr. Morthy,
Yes.
Dr. Park,
Yes.
Ms. Saccone,
Yes.
Mr. Copeland,
Yes.
Mr. Denise,
Yes.
and Mr. Kazmarski.
Yes. Moving on to new business, we have resolutions A through X. Can I please get a motion? Mr. Gallo, seconded by Denise.
Can I have a question?
Yes, do you have a question?
And maybe this is directed to Kyle on 17O regarding the Wi-Fi upgrade. Can you give us more details on what that entails, where that's going to happen? You know, any more info than what's in the resolution?
Sure. The upgrade is going to happen district-wide. It is going to bring many of our wireless units and access points up to the latest technology. Most of our technology is around the 7 to 8 year old mark, where it is nearing the end of its useful life. As we've been bringing in new computers, new equipment, we want to make sure that it is connecting, maintaining as reliable a connection as it can for the students and staff that use it. The other nice part about this is because there is a federal program called the E-Ray program, which this does qualify for. So while the out-of-pocket expense is significant, we are going to get a fair amount back in refunds and reimbursements from the federal government for this.
Do we have a timeline on this? Is it going to be ready by the end of the school year, beginning of next school year?
No, our expectation is that it's going to begin sometime over the summer. And in speaking with the vendor, they gave us every confidence and have every confidence with the availability of devices and equipment that it will be done over the summer and ready for September.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So Kyle, is O&P related because they're like the same dollar amounts?
Yes, O&P are related. O is just the act to award it to this particular vendor, and P is the transfer of funds from fund balance for the purpose of this.
And it's going to be reimbursed from the federal government to back into this extraordinary aid fund account?
No, the reimbursement would come back in as revenue in the year that we receive it, and it's not a full reimbursement, it'll be a partial. So it would go to that revenue line when it comes in.
Okay. Any other comments, questions? All right. Did I already make a motion?
Yes, we did have a motion.
Okay, good.
Okay. Roll call on 17A through X. Mr. Gallo?
Yes, except on A and B, I am abstaining on checks 102166 and 102223.
Ms. Conoco?
Yes.
Dr. Morthy?
Yes.
Dr. Park?
Yes.
Ms. Saccone?
Yes.
Mr. Copeland?
Yes, but I'm abstaining on check number 102116.
Mr. Denise?
Yes.
And Mr. Kazmarski?
Yes. Number 18, new business personnel. I have resolutions A through N. Can I get a motion, please? Dr. Morthy, seconded by Ms. Saccone. Any discussion, any comments? No? It's all right.
Roll call 18A through N. Mr. Gallo.
Yes.
Ms. Conoco.
Yes.
Dr. Morthy.
Yes.
Dr. Park.
Yes.
Ms. Saccone.
Yes.
Mr. Copeland.
Yes.
Mr. Denise.
Yes.
And Mr. Kazmarski.
Yes. Okay, can I get a public comment? Please note this section of public participation will be limited to 15 minutes and following all policies and procedures with regards to public comment at board meetings. Can I please get a motion to open the meeting to the public? Dr. Morthy, seconded by Mr. Gallo. Okay. Anyone? Please come forward. Yeah, yeah.
To the microphone, please.
Please state your name and address for the record.
Alison Theodoro, 1 Ariel Place. So my question is just, as we're so thankful to be back to some kind of more in-person learning, I see a lot of different plans in the afternoon session. So my question is the morning session or whatever our in-person part of the day for all of our schools meeting the requirement for the minimum amount of education our kids need to be in school? Or is it necessary to put whatever extras we have in some schools in the afternoon in there to meet the minimum requirements?
Good question. Dr. DeTore, you want to? Hey, use that microphone over there. Just make sure it's on mic. Wow. Oh.
Here, take one from here.
No,
Oh, you got
it's
it?
coming through now.
Along the,
There you go.
along the lines of what's happening in this different school levels. So as we know, at the secondary level, the schedule's not changed. The secondary level is going to have the same amount of time in school, and then they have office hours in the afternoon. At the elementary level, the way that the schedules are created is that they have around 4 hours and 30 minutes of in-school instruction. Along the lines of what the obligation of the state is, the obligation of the state, we are successful in what our schedule does hold. That being said, there's still additional time at the after school that after they leave our school and within our school day that there are a couple things that are available to our kids. Depending on the individual class schedules, a class can either take part in a special remotely, or the teachers are putting together schedules for small group instruction or individual instruction. During that small group instruction time, they'll be doing guided reading groups based on level. They'll also be doing various assessments that they wouldn't be able to do within the day. So there are a couple different options. Again, since it's our first week, they're ironing out the specifics of it, but the very activities are all pretty much set. It's either a special that's happening in the afternoon or small group instruction. When I'm talking about small group instruction, that does not mean that the entire class gets on each and every day. They're creating a schedule depending on need and focus that the students will be scheduled, that these are the days or this is the date that they're getting on that small group time.
Are they optional or are they part of what we need to make our minimum requirement at this point?
Along the lines of optional, like
I'm having a really hard time getting my daughter to show up for a Zoom after she came home from school. I mean, first of all, part of it is she's tired because she's only been in school for 2 hours and a half before this. So like there's that physical stamina part of it. Part of it is also, you know, that we have lunch and we've kind of separated from like being home and being at school. And then I'm like, well, you have to get, for the first 2 days I didn't even know she had a Zoom. She's like, oh, my teacher told me I had a Zoom at 2:30 today. And then it's like, oh, I can't get her back on. And what happens when the weather turns and it's nicer out? And like, is she meeting her minimum requirements being in that school that if I say to her, you know, listen, we're just not going to do this, or for gym, can I just send the gym teacher a video of her jumping on the trampoline, or whatever it is that would count as that extra, because it's very difficult once they get out the door to get them back into a Zoom mode.
So the answer to that question is very tricky. Here's what I'm going to tell you. Along the lines of minimum requirements set forth by the state, yes, we do adhere to the minimum requirements set forth by the state. Now, let me tell you about the director of curriculum answer. The director of curriculum answer said is that, yes, I am really excited that we have been able to extend our day to 4 hours and 20 minutes roughly. That being said, I still feel it's important for us to offer that after you leave learning opportunity. We also know that the social and emotional well-being of our kids is paramount as well. So each family has differences. That some kids want to jump on and do it, other kids struggle. Along the lines of that struggle, I think that's very individual and personalized to that family. I strongly suggest that you reach out to the teacher and to the principal, and things will be discussed and worked out for you.
Yep.
That's not going to stop us from offering it, but I also know that as a father of 3, I also understand the struggles of remote learning too. That being said, I still want to make sure that we're offering those types of things. We have talked to our educators along the lines of understanding of that fatigue, and that's why I'm hopeful that it doesn't become this whole, well, we're just not going to go on. But I understand what you're saying, and I think it's definitely something that's personal between that family.
Or a priority list, okay, we're gonna shoot for this as opposed to that. And the other thing is, she's in chorus, she's in orchestra, which are all happening in the PM as well.
Sure.
And that's a choice, and I get that. But then on top of that, now her teachers are scheduling Zooms which conflict with orchestra and chorus.
Sure.
So.
Yeah, because we have that chunk of time, you're absolutely right. When we have those extracurriculars,
Right.
Oftentimes there's overlap.
And I see like in the upper schools, it seems to be like the extracurriculars that run in the afternoon. So it's more choice time and office hours time. But in the younger grades, I wasn't seeing the same pattern.
Yeah, so the way that we have it in the elementary schools is that we're trying our very best to get, core instruction as well as specials done in that period of time. But we also know the significance and the power of small group instruction. And especially when we start to talk about making sure that our kids are tracking successfully in this difficult time, that time is really important for us to make sure that we're scheduling it accordingly. So that's why we felt it's extremely important. That's why the teachers are going to be running it. But like I said, every single situation is totally different, so I don't want
And they are
to make a
meeting
broad.
their core curriculum requirements at
Absolutely.
the school. And
So those times are going to be most likely, those small group times are going to be either specific to reading and writing or math.
Oh, thank you.
No problem.
Thank you very much. Okay, anyone else? I was just looking at you to see if you wanted to say something. Don't help me. No, that's good. Thank you so much. Can I please get a motion to close the meeting to the public? Dr. Morthy and Mr. Coughlin. Thank you very much. And with that, a motion to adjourn, please. Mr. Gallo, and I will give it to Dr. Morthy. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you.